Previously, it was mentioned that Isabelle sought to achieve the incredible feat of keeping Klaus, the leader of the originals, out of the town. However, it now seems that not only has she failed, but she has also fallen under Klaus's control. Her final task is to end her own life. Isabelle couldn't resist Klaus's control, but before she died, she confessed her love to Alaric and reunited with her daughter. In the end, Isabelle turns to ashes in the sunlight at her own grave. Elena is at a loss. On this day, she finally learns of her mother's feelings, but she also loses her mother forever. Caroline has been searching for Matt all day, only to find him at her house. Matt still can't face Caroline directly. He hopes she can erase his memories so they can go back to the way they were when they were in love. Caroline, deeply moved, uses compulsion to make Matt forget that she is a vampire, but as soon as Matt leaves, he tells Sheriff Forbes the truth. Matt's memory was never erased. He had taken vervain beforehand. He did all of this to deceive Caroline. The town's only honest and simple Matt has now turned cunning.
I feel like she died.
She did.
Klaus's tactics and cruelty instilled fear in the Salvatore brothers, so they transferred the deed to the mansion over to Elena. This way, without Elena's invitation, even the brothers themselves can't enter. At this moment, John has finally been resurrected. Damon prepares to teach him a lesson but is stopped by Elena. John, too, was just being used. So, let's revisit the plot so far. Damon and the others were used by John. John and Catherine were manipulated by Isabelle, and Isabelle was a puppet of Klaus. Thus, everything that has happened since Elijah was stabbed was orchestrated by Klaus. It's possible that even the dagger that can kill the originals was provided by Klaus. Everyone is a pawn. Klaus has not shown himself, yet he firmly holds the reins, with unparalleled strength and cunning strategy. But the main characters are not without resistance. Let's not forget that Bonnie has gained immense witchcraft powers, though Jeremy has discovered through ancient texts that this godlike power will consume Bonnie's life. Bonnie asks him to keep it a secret. She was ready to die with Klaus.
Catherine has no idea that Bonnie got her powers back. And Isabelle had no idea what you and Jeremy...
It literally makes Bonnie a secret weapon.
Meanwhile, when Catherine wakes up, she finds Maddox performing a spell on a man whose back looks familiar. Alaric has also been brought in, and Maddox greets him with respect, leaving Catherine utterly confused. Alaric appears to be a different person, his gaze sharp as a knife. Catherine attempts to teleport away, only to find that the room is warded. Alaric looks at her with a mocking smile.
Zdrowie, Katarina. I've missed you.
The long-anticipated, most powerful of the originals, Klaus, has finally arrived. The story of the Vampire Diaries is about to reach its climax. Even though Klaus possesses unparalleled combat strength, he still chooses to outwit his enemies. In order to investigate his opponent's strength, he possessed Alaric and imprisoned Catherine. Through Catherine, Klaus learns a great deal, such as the fact that his brother Elijah has been sealed with a dagger, and his body is hidden in the cellar. Klaus is most wary of the witch Bonnie, but Catherine is unaware of this and only begs for death. However, Klaus has been hunting Catherine for 500 years. He wouldn't kill her so easily. Torturing her for a few more centuries sounds like a better plan. So, Klaus takes out a dagger and forces Catherine to repeatedly stab herself. The commands of the originals cannot be disobeyed.
And while I'm gone, I want you to do that over and over and over again. And if you get bored, switch legs.
Meanwhile, Elena signs the deed transfer agreement, becoming the new owner of the mansion. Without her permission, no vampire, including the Salvatore brothers, can enter the house. Elena immediately invites Stefan into the house, and Stefan smugly looks at his brother before stepping inside. Damon gazes at Elena with hopeful eyes, only to be met with her demanding that they set some ground rules.
All the shots. No lies, no secret agendas, remember?
After Damon promises to behave, Elena finally invites him in. Now, no vampire other than the Salvatore brothers can step foot into this house, yet Elena insists on going to school, so Stefan reluctantly accompanies her to class. In history class, Klaus, possessing Alaric, often sneaks glances at Elena. Though he has taken over Alaric's body, he has no idea how to teach, and the kids are driving him up the wall. The school is hosting a 1960s themed dance tonight. Matt, to avoid raising suspicion, pretends to be deeply in love with Caroline every day, though inside he is terrified of vampires. But Matt has teamed up with Sheriff Forbes. They intend to extract more information about vampires through Caroline. Poor Caroline is completely oblivious to their scheme. A girl delivers a message to Elena, saying that Klaus insists she attend the dance tonight, since the girl was compelled. Elena can't get any more information out of her. The only thing she knows for sure is that Klaus is hiding somewhere in the school, which sends chills down her spine. Everyone immediately gathers to discuss their next move, unaware that Klaus, having possessed Alaric, has already infiltrated their ranks. Damon suggests turning the tables and using the dance to finally uncover Klaus's true identity. After all, they have no idea what Klaus even looks like. Bonnie also assures Elena that she will protect her no matter what. Klaus, wanting to probe Bonnie's strength, subtly fans the flames.
That easy? I mean, he's the biggest, baddest vampire around.
To allay everyone's concerns, Bonnie showcases her abilities. The power Bonnie displays makes Klaus extremely cautious. He's grateful he didn't act rashly, so Klaus retreats to his lair. Catherine's legs have already been stabbed into a bloody mess. Klaus decides that tonight at the dance, he will eliminate Bonnie, the greatest threat to his plans. Maddox offers a strategy. Bonnie's immense power must come at the cost of her life. If they can provoke her into using up all her magic prematurely, they can take her down, since Alaric's body is too weak. Maddox casts a protection spell on Klaus. Tonight's dance is destined to be incredibly perilous. The original Elijah is finally about to see the light of day again, but what could have driven Elena to seal this original vampire herself, only to then remove the dagger from his chest? At tonight's themed dance, everyone who knows the truth is on edge, like soldiers preparing for battle, because the most powerful of the originals, Klaus, has already infiltrated the event. Bonnie is ready to fight to the death, and Jeremy even offers her the resurrection ring to protect her, but it only works on humans. Their embrace feels more like a farewell. Just then, Damon passes by. Bonnie pretends nothing is wrong. She doesn't want her friends to know the truth. Meanwhile, Klaus, still in Alaric's body, has a surprise plan for everyone. When Elena and the others enter the dance, the girl Klaus compelled leads the crowd in a cheer for Elena.
This is for Elena. From Klaus.
A clever move to shake them up. Klaus, hidden among the crowd, is secretly pleased. He deliberately sends the message that he's already in control here. Damon suggests they split up and look for any unfamiliar faces, unaware that Alaric is actually Klaus. Klaus was pleased with his little trick, but he didn't expect Damon to look down on him. Being called out by Damon for lacking creativity, Klaus is deeply frustrated, his gaze dark and brooding. As they pretend to dance, the group uses partner swapping to pass information, but no one notices any unfamiliar faces. When Damon and Bonnie dance together, he confronts her, asking if she's really willing to sacrifice her life to protect Elena. It turns out Damon overheard Bonnie and Jeremy's conversation. Although Damon knew Bonnie might die, he did not tell Elena, which already showed Damon's position. But Damon isn't entirely heartless.
With all that power, is there no way to increase your odds?
Careful, Damon. I might start to think you actually care.
We wouldn't want that.
Jeremy keeps Bonnie's secret from his sister, but he does tell Stefan. Stefan, unlike Damon, cares deeply about his friend's safety, so he tells Elena. Upon learning that Bonnie plans to carry out a suicide mission, Elena immediately pulls her aside to confront her. This also causes a rift between the Salvatore brothers. On the other side, Klaus hypnotized a few thugs to cause trouble for Jeremy. The Salvatore brothers come to his rescue, but they're shocked when the thugs pull out weapons invented by Alaric. The brothers immediately realize something is wrong with Alaric. They fell for the trap. Meanwhile, Klaus approaches Elena and Bonnie, lying that Jeremy has been captured and urging them to follow him. When Elena and Bonnie were lured into an empty place, Klaus directly confronted them. Elena and Bonnie exchange bewildered looks, completely stunned.
He's being compelled.
Oh, try again.
Klaus.
Surprise!
No.
Bonnie makes the first move, sending Klaus flying, but Klaus has a protection spell. To break through his defenses, Bonnie would have to expend much more of her power. Concerned for Alaric's life, Elena and Bonnie have no choice but to flee. At that moment, Damon arrives, and after assessing the situation, he tells Elena to leave while he urges Bonnie to fulfill her promise.
You're still willing to do whatever it takes to kill him?
Bonnie then takes the offensive, but Klaus is so relaxed he even mocks her for taking too long. Just as Klaus hoped, Bonnie unleashes her full power. Poor Alaric's body takes a beating, but the backlash causes Bonnie to bleed from her mouth and nose. When Elena and Stefan arrive, Damon stops them from getting involved. Klaus plans to drain Bonnie's power using Alaric's body. Bonnie knows it's a trap but has no choice but to step into it. If she doesn't fight back, this demon won't leave satisfied. When Elena and Stefan finally get there, Bonnie casts a spell that blocks them from entering. With a roar, Bonnie unleashes her most powerful attack, causing all the electrical devices to explode. But Klaus still stood up, while Bonnie was exhausted. When Elena and Stefan burst in, Klaus is already gone, and Bonnie has no pulse. Damon told them to leave first. He would take care of Bonnie's body. Elena, overwhelmed with grief and rage, accuses Damon of being cold and heartless, but this isn't a safe place to linger, so Stefan drags a distraught Elena away. As Damon prepares to take Bonnie's body, Jeremy arrives, asking about Bonnie's whereabouts. Damon, with a grave expression, tells him, "We need to talk." When Damon returns to the mansion, Elena, devastated by Bonnie's death, slaps him across the face. But Damon tells Elena that Bonnie had to die otherwise. Klaus would never stop.
And he wasn't going to stop. And we weren't going to be able to stop him until he knew she was dead. He had to believe it.
Damon's words are full of meaning. At that moment, in the witch's burial ground, Bonnie, who had faked her death, woke up. This was Damon's brilliant plan all along. No wonder Klaus wasn't injured. Bonnie had used all her magic to create a spectacle, staging a dramatic exit. Klaus might have the trick of possession, but Damon has the art of faking death. Privately, Stefan confronts Damon, demanding to know why he didn't reveal the plan sooner. Didn't he realize how much pain Elena was in?
I don't mind being the bad guy. I'll make all the life and death decisions while you're busy worrying about collateral damage. I'll even let her hate me for it. But at the end of the day, I'll be the one to keep her alive.
Damon's response is clear. He's signaling to Stefan that he loves Elena, just as much if not more. After confirming Bonnie is safe, Elena feels a twinge of guilt towards Damon, but Damon knows that this brief moment of peace is only temporary. The final battle will require Bonnie to push herself to the limit, and Damon doesn't mind playing the villain one more time.
If it comes down to you and the witch again, I will gladly let Bonnie die. I will always choose you.
Damon's love is both selfish and selfless. However, Elena can't just stand by and watch Bonnie die for her, so she starts searching for another way to defeat Klaus, turning to Elijah, another of the originals. Elena quietly sneaks down to the cellar and pulls the dagger from Elijah's chest. When Elijah wakes, he's filled with terror, his mind foggy from just being revived. He mistakes Elena for Catherine. It turns out that 500 years ago, at an elite banquet, a subordinate presented Elijah with a mysterious woman. As an original vampire who has lived for centuries, few women could captivate Elijah, but the moment he laid eyes on Catherine, his expression softened, his gaze mesmerized. Catherine bore a striking resemblance to someone from his past. After this brief memory, Elijah suddenly feels suffocated. The house now had a new owner, and without an invitation, Elijah felt a suffocating sensation, unable to even breathe. With Elena's help, Elijah escapes the house. Elena signals for Elijah to keep quiet so as not to wake the sleeping Salvatore brothers. Elijah then asked a pointed question, "Can I still trust you?" In response, Elena hands over the white oak dagger. This is the best promise she can give. Not long after they leave, the Salvatore brothers discover that Elijah's body is missing. Elena once again approaches Elijah, asking him for a promise, but Elijah is too hurt by her betrayal. "What leverage do you have left to negotiate with me?" he asks. Just then, Stefan calls, and Elena assures him that she's safe.
Elijah is a noble man, Stefan. He lives by a code of honor. I can trust him.
While Stefan respects Elena's decision to act on her own, Damon doesn't trust Elijah, leading to a rift between the brothers. Stefan angrily tells Damon to mind his own business. When Elijah learns that Klaus is in town and has taken over Alaric's body, he isn't surprised. "My brother has always been too playful," he remarks. Elijah slips back into his memories. At the banquet, he and Catherine were enjoying a lively conversation, while Catherine was deeply curious about Elijah's brother. Surrounded by the crowd, Catherine couldn't see Klaus's face clearly. Wherever Klaus passed, people would bow and make way for him. Catherine fell in love at first sight, utterly captivated by Klaus.
The Lord Niklaus.
Niklaus is the name my father gave me. Please, call me Klaus.
As they talk, Elijah and Elena arrive at Mayor Lockwood's house. Elijah compels Carol to turn the house into his temporary base. Elena, puzzled, asks how he knew Mayor Carol wasn't taking Vervain.
Because I'm the one who got her off it. Right before you and your friends killed me.
Meanwhile, Klaus has grown tired of Alaric's body. With the moonstone in hand, the witch dead, and the full moon approaching, he orders Maddox to retrieve his true form. Catherine, curious, wonders why Klaus doesn't seem worried about Elena escaping. After observing Elena for the past few days, Klaus is certain that she won't choose the same path as Catherine, even if it costs her life. Elena would never put her family in danger, but to ensure everything goes according to plan, Klaus intends to give Elena a warning. Meanwhile, Stefan receives a call from Aunt Jenna, who returned home only to find the house empty. When Stefan learns that Alaric had been in contact with Jenna, he panics but can't tell her that Klaus has taken over Alaric's body.
I'd love to lend you a hand, but, you wouldn't want me to do anything stupid.
Seriously gonna be like this?
You and your girlfriend are calling the shots. I'm just backing off, Stefan.
After Stefan left, Damon took his girlfriend Andy to Klaus's hideout and saw Catherine trapped there. When Stefan arrives at Jenna's house, he's ready to come up with an excuse to get Jenna out of there, but her expression is frozen in shock. It turns out Klaus had already gotten there. Alaric had been too afraid to tell Jenna the truth, but Klaus had no such reservations. He reveals the secret of vampires to her. Stefan no longer needed to keep up the pretense. He makes the first move against Klaus and urges Jenna to leave quickly. Klaus doesn't fight back because his goal in coming here was simply to send a warning to Elena.